Right, before you actually connect to your vCenter environment and start to use it, you actually need to set up your environment on your PC or laptop so that you can actually reach it. And the reason for that is that the environment is actually running on a private VLAN in the IBM Cloud. So you need to actually be able to attach to that private VLAN. So you can follow the instructions on in the IBM Cloud as to how to do that. An alternative is to go to my GitHub repository site, so it's github.com, James Belton IBM is the address up here. If you then click through to repositories, you'll see this document here, or this project here, getting started with vCenter. So if we go and have a quick look at that, and you'll then see this PDF file. And what this basically is basically a linear sort of bunch of instructions as to how to actually get connected to the environment and get started. So we talk about actually creating the service. So if you haven't already created the service, you can go and have a look at that. It's then setting up your computer. So it's making sure you've got the Adobe Flash Player installed in your browser, because you're going to need that to actually run the vCenter console. You need to create a VPN password in the IBM Cloud, because you need to actually log on to the IBM Cloud VPN. So it shows you how to do that, how to get your password and your username. It then shows you how to actually log into the data center VPN. So either using software.com/VPN access or using the Motion Pro Plus VPN client, and that's what I'm doing because I'm actually using a Mac. You then need to actually add some details into your local hosts file. So if you've got a Mac or Windows machine, I'll show you how to do that. And then you can actually finally click the vCenter console button. There's also a little bit of information here on uploading ISO, so that's CD or DVD images up to your environment, so you can install things like operating systems, for instance. And then there's actually steps here to creating your first virtual machine as well, using the uploaded ISO file. So again, if you've not sort of gone through those steps, then this is quite a good guide to read, and it will just help you get attached to the environment and get going. Okay, so let's switch to my IBM Cloud account then. So these are my deployed instances in my VMware environment. If you don't know where to get to this screen, log into the IBM Cloud at cloud.ibm.com, and then click this menu up here, the navigation menu, and just click onto the VMware, and you'll get to this particular dashboard here. So if you then so if you click on deployed instances, then these are the instances I've got deployed. So I'm going to actually use this one, the JB Cust Demo, which is a vCenter server type instance. So I'm just clicking there. And from there, you can then you can start to see what I've actually got running. So so you can see that the name of my instance is JB Cust Demo. You can see where it's located, so Amsterdam. So so when it comes to logging into the IBM Cloud data center VPN, I'm actually going to be logged into this Amsterdam data center VPN, which I already am. You can see the base license edition. So there's a few bits and pieces here. You can see my root domain, etc., etc. Here you can then actually see the IP addresses of the various machines that I've got in my environment. So there's my DNS server, my NSX manager IP. Then there's my vCenter PSC IP. So these two or three are quite important. These are the ones that you need to actually put into your host file, and again I'll show you how to do that in the document in my GitHub environment. And of course, if you want to actually log into anything, then you need to know the passwords for things. So the passwords are actually stored here too. I'm not going to reveal mine, but the way to do it is just to check this box here. Okay, so if you hover over this vCenter console, then you'll notice that there's some information here about doing the following steps before you actually press this button. So if you haven't done these things, then again, these are the things that are in the document I've just showed you, then it's not going to work. So if it does just go blank or doesn't attach, etc., etc., just check these things, check the document, check the documentation, and doing that will help things to work. So let's click the button, and what happens, a new tab will open. So this is the IP address of my server. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually connect to my vSphere web client. So give that a click. And because this is trying to run Flash, I need to click in it again and just allow it to run the Flash. So this just can take a little while to start up. Okay, and here's my my environment has now started up. So here you can just see a navigator, which is fairly self-explanatory. We've got a sort of a main bit of the console here, where there's some good information. We've got some recent objects. If you want to actually go through and go back to things, you can do that quite easily there. And these are tasks, so you'll see that in a few moments as we start to do some things. Okay, so I've got a list of things here that I'm going to show you how to do. So I guess the first thing is to actually provision a new virtual machine. So you can see from this list here. I do actually have a number of virtual machines running. All of these, except for this one here, Rules Web Server, are actually ones that are created for me. So I'm going to quickly just show you how to log into a virtual machine from vCenter. So this is the Rules Web Server. So if I just click this summary button, there's a quick summary of what this is. So it's a CentOS machine. It's compatible with AXI 6.5 and later. So you can see that it's not actually running. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually start the server. So you do that by clicking this arrow here. So you just power on the server there. You can see down here that it's now completed. So then if we just click in this box, then a new tab opens, and you can see that my web server is now booting. So this won't take too long. There we go. So I'm actually onto my server now. I can log in. So I'm going to log in as root. Put in my password. Put my password in properly. There we go. So there you can see I'm now actually logged into my web server. So there you go. So it's as simple as that to actually log into a virtual machine from vCenter. I'm just going to shut that window down again. Okay, so the next thing I'm actually going to do is order or provision a new server. So again, this is dead simple. All I'm going to do is click on Data Center. If I just click on this Actions button, then I can click here, New Virtual Machine. So I'm just going to click New Virtual Machine, and then a little wizard starts. So I'm just going to create so I don't have any templates at the moment. I don't have any. I'm not going to clone anything. So I'm just going to stick with Create a New Virtual Machine. Click Next. I'm going to give the virtual machine a name. So I'm going to call this. What am I going to call this? Let's call this Developer VM. I'm going to put this in the data center. I mean, I can if I've got more than one location, then I can put it in a different location. I'm just going to put it into data center. I'm going to click Next there. So a compute resource. So I'm going to put it on my cluster. I can, if I want, put it on a particular host, but I'm just going to put it on the cluster so it can go between the two. So I'll just click Next again. I'm going to select the storage. So this is where do I actually want my virtual machine to be stored. I'm going to say on Data Store 1. Select compatibility. So this is compatibility with the VMware virtual machine. So I'm going to have it to the latest version, so 6.5. Next thing I'm going to do is select a guest OS. Now there are no guest OSs installed by default. So you actually need to upload the ISO files for this. I have actually uploaded a CentOS 7 ISO, so I'm going to select that from the list. So Linux and then CentOS 7. I'm going to click Next. Right, the next phase is actually customizing the hardware. So what do I want my hardware to look like? So I can decide how many CPUs I want. So I'm going to stick with 1. In terms of memory, how much memory do I want? So this is effectively 2 gig, so 2048 megabytes, 2 gig. I can decide to reserve that if I want to. So what that means is that it will always have a certain amount of memory, and no other virtual machine will take that away. I'm going to leave that at 0 for the minute. I'm going to leave the defaults. The new hard disk. So with the new hard disk, this is how big effectively the boot disk is going to be. So I'm going to stick with 16 gig. The other things I can do here is if I open that up, I can then decide on a storage policy whether I want it encrypted, etc. Where I want it to be locally stored. So I'm going to store it with the virtual machine. I can then do disk provisioning, so I can decide whether to thinly provision it or thickly provision it. So I'm going to leave these all as defaults and say whether I want to share it, how many IOPS that I want, etc., etc. So I'm just going to leave that at default at the moment. The next thing I'm going to do is actually put on a client device because I want to create put an operating system with this. So I'm going for a data store ISO file. I'm going to select the one that I've uploaded. So I've actually got one here called CentOS 7, and that's one I've uploaded. I'm going to click OK there. And the important thing is I'm actually going to click connect because then that connects it when the machine is actually booted. The only thing I'm going to do is actually put a network card on rather. So I'm going to click this drop down here, click network, and then click add. And then I'm going to add that to my virtual wire workload switch. So I'm going to do that. Okay, then all I do is click next. I'll check all the details, and then all I do is click finish. So as you can see down here, my developer VM has created. At the moment, the machine is so the thing's created. You can see down here, it's actually powered off at the moment. So what I'm going to do is power it on, and then I can click on the window here to actually see the machine as it's booted. So you can see here that it's found the installation media. So I'm going to actually go through and install CentOS. So let's click in there, click I and click enter. And then I can just go through the normal steps of actually installing the operating system. So I'm going to pause the video there. I'm going to let the thing install, and then I'll show you my machine that's installed. Right, well, welcome back. So here's the screen to confirm that my installation of CentOS is complete. So all I then need to do is just click this button to allow the system to reboot. So it's just going to do that now. Shouldn't take a minute. So you can just get that started. Okay, so there we are rebooted. So I'm just going to log in. So I'm just going to log in my root credentials. And there we go, we're in. So I can now do a df-k, show you the different disks that I've got there. The next thing I'm going to do is just create I'm going to create a directory. So make James, just for the next demonstration. So cd James. And then I'm going to use vi to create a file called hello.txt, and I'm just putting there hello world. Okay, so very simple file there. As you can see, there is a file there called hello.txt, and it's called hello world. Okay, so if we just switch back to our vSphere console, then you can see here now that my server is up and running. You can see that it's already actually installed the VMware tools, so it does that automatically. It's using the Open VM tools from the operating system. If they're not installed, then what you normally see is sort of a tag along here, and then you can press a button and it will actually then mount the ISO for the tools, and you can then go into the operating system and install them there. So a couple of other quick things. So if you want to stop the VM, then all you need to do is shut down the guest operating system, press the little red square there, and just confirm with a yes, and that'll turn the thing off. As you see there, it's powered off. If you want to turn it on again, then just go ahead and press the green button. So that's basically how to stop and start a VM. You can see there that it's just rebooting if I click on there. you can see that it's rebooting. So a slight word of caution. If you do decide to just press the off button, then you are effectively just turning the thing off. If you want to do it nicely, then I suggest you go into the operating system and just shut it down nicely beforehand. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is actually take a snapshot. So snapshots are useful when you want to save the state of a machine in a particular way. You can see that this server is now actually back up and running. So if I just log in again, so I'm going to log back in as root, put my password. Okay, and if I just do an ls there, you can see there's a directory there called James. If I cd into James, then you can see that there's the file there, hello text. And if I look at that, then you can see that there's hello world in there. So let's just come back out of there. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go back into my console. So what I was saying I'm going to do now is actually take a snapshot of the virtual machine. And snapshots basically just preserve the state at a point in time. So if I click on Actions and I go down to Snapshots and then go to Take a Snapshot, it's just initializing. I can give it a name. So I'm going to leave it as it is, but I could call this whatever I like. I guess the main thing is to have a time on there or something which lets me know, when this was actually taken. So if it's after you've, I don't know, installed some particular software and some configuration, that might. But you can give it a description. So I'm going to say after adding James and hello.txt. I'm also going to snapshot the virtual machine's memory. I'm just going to click OK there. So you can then just see down here that it's creating that snapshot. So it's just going to take a few seconds to do that. It's not a big machine, so it's not going to take too long. And there you go, it's just completed. So if I just click on the snapshots tab here, you can then see that I've got a snapshot there, and then you can see that that's where I am. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go back into my virtual machine, just do a list again. So you can see I've got this directory James. So what I'm now going to do is actually remove that directory. So rm-r James. So that's going to remove the directory for me. So yes, I want to descend into the directory. Just want to kill everything. Remove the file. Remove the directory. So if I do ls-l now, so James is gone. So I've basically lost my my file hello.txt. So imagine that you've just created a load of work and somebody has come along and accidentally removed that file. So what I can then do is actually go and replace my snapshot. So let's go back into my VMware console. What I can then do is click Actions and Snapshot and revert to the latest snapshot. So I know that the last one was a good one, so I can click Revert to the snapshot. So I'm going to suspend the virtual machine while reverting, and then just click Yes. So basically what I'm doing is just replaying the snapshot I've just created. So it looks like that's already done. So I need to just close that window and reopen it. Okay, so let's see where we're at. So I'm actually back into my directory called James because that's where I took the snapshot. And if I then do an ls, then hello is back, and I can then look at my file. So there we go. So that's actually recovering from a snapshot. So let's just actually create another file in there. So let's call this goodbye. So goodbye. So then you can see I've got two files in there. If I go back into the vSphere console, let's just take another snapshot. So Actions, Snapshot, take a snapshot. So you can see I'm just taking another snapshot there. Okay, so this is the old snapshot. This is the new snapshot. So I'm just going to take a few more snapshots now, just to just to show you something else. So the next thing, so I'm going to create a, so I'm going to call this snap1. Give that an OK. So there's snap1. I'm going to create another one. Call it snap2. Now all of these snapshots are obviously going to be, identical because I'm not doing anything in between. Really, I'm just trying to show a point here. So let's add another one in. Let's take a third snapshot and we'll just call this snap3. So snap3. Okay, so those are created. So in the last demo, or in the last snapshot demo, I've got the revert to the latest snapshot. The other thing you can actually do is not necessarily revert to the latest snapshot. So this is where I am at the moment. This is where my machine is. This is the latest snapshot. So if I reverted to the latest snapshot, I'll be back here. But if I actually wanted to go all the way back to snap 1, well, that's something I can do. I just need to highlight snap 1 and then revert the VM to the state when the snapshot is taken. So basically just click this button here. So I'm going to say yes, and it's then just going to revert back to the snapshot. Okay. Now the interesting thing is I can actually revert back to these other snapshots as well if I want to. So if I wanted to go back to snapshot 3, then I can go back to snapshot 3 as well. So, there's a few things we can do with snapshots there, which are quite interesting. So by going back, you're not necessarily throwing away the latest snapshots. But let's just go back again. So let's just go back there. So if I then decide that, well, actually, snap 1 is where I want to be, I want to get rid of these later snaps, then all I need to do is just click delete here. So am I sure I want to delete that? Well, yes, I am. And you can see then it's deleted snapshot 2, so I can no longer go back to snap 2. I can still go back to snap 3, but again, if I want to just get rid of that, then I can just delete that as well. Okay, let's just refresh the screen. There we go. So you can see that we're now back to snapshot 1. So that's basically around snapshots, restoring snapshots, and deleting and consolidating snapshots. The next thing I'm going to do is actually show you how to add new virtual hard disks, or add storage effectively to your server. So first of all, I'm going to go over to the summary screen, and I'm going to go back to my console. So I'm just going to clear the screen here. So we've got that stuff. So I'm going to see what devices are actually installed at the moment. So the way I'm going to do this, because it's Linux, I'm going to type /dev/sd star, and this will show me the disk devices that are attached at the moment. So you can see that there's 3 of them. So I'm going to go back to my vSphere console, and the way that I can actually change the configuration of my machine is click this configure button. So then I need to just click edit, and from this screen I can then actually add new devices. So I'm going to click this select button here. I'm going to select a new hard disk, and I'm going to click add. I'm going to make this hard disk, let's say 20 gig in size. Just going to expand the properties on it a bit. I'm going to leave these as defaults, but I'm going to actually thinly provision the storage. And then we'll just close that one down again, and then just click OK. So as you can see, it's just reconfiguring the virtual machine. It's completed, so it's actually added the storage. So if I go back to my console, and if I run that ls again, you can see that I've now got a new device. It's called this /dev/sd /FDB. So now what I need to do is actually attach this storage to my virtual machine. So again, this is operating system dependent, but just to very quickly run through this on Linux. So what we do is a make fs -t SDB. So this is actually making a file system on all of the on the whole device. So we're just checking that it's going to do that. So it's nice and quick. So we're doing fdisk -l, so it's just going to list the disks on there. So you can see that it's been added. You can see that it's there. Let's just clear the screen again. I'm going to make a directory to mount this disk to, so make the Euro1. And then what I'm going to do is actually add this in vCentre fs tab. So vi etc fs tab. I'm just going to put a new entry in here. So it's going to be dev sdb. Mount it to Euro1. It's going to be an extended 3 file system. Another default. And it's going to be Euro1 and 3. Okay, so I can then put a tab in there. There we go. So just save that, and then what we need to do is reboot the machine again. Okay, there we go, we're back again, so log in as root. See my drive still there, so df-k, and you can then see my Euro1 and my new disk is there, so I can cd to Euro1, do an ls, and I can make it James 2. So there we go, so there's my storage, it's attached, and I can then actually use it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is actually change the CPU and memory. Now, to actually do this, you need to make sure that the virtual machine is down, so you need to turn it off beforehand. But again, I just click Edit, and if the machine is actually running, you'll see these as being greyed out. But I can just use the drop down to change the CPU and the memory. So I can let's up this to 4 gig, for instance. So if I put in there 4092. And that's all I really need to do. So I click OK, and you can see that it's been done. All I need to then do is reboot the machine, and I can then go back to the summary. See that it's powered on, and it just reboots again. And it's as easy as that to actually increase the CPU and increase the RAM. And you can decrease them in the same way as well. Okay, so another thing you might want to do is actually connect a CD or an ISO. Again, that's fairly easy. Just go to the settings, click Edit, and use this drop down here. So you can do it from your laptop if you have a DVD drive. I don't actually have one in my laptop. You can use a data store ISO file, as I showed you before, and you can connect. You need to just make sure that you connect these things up. There's also a content library ISO file as well. So basically, it's just choosing the appropriate from the list here. If it's a data store ISO file, then you can just click Browse. And again, depending on what you've got, I've only got this CentOS ISO image. You can then select the one that you want. Click OK. Make sure you got it connected. and then click OK, and it will then be automatically connected to your virtual machine. So that's actually adding those files to drives. So you can change your network adapter or add your network adapter. So again, if you just click Edit, so we've actually got a network adapter attached here. So if you want to change the network that your network adapter is actually attached to, you can click Show More Networks. You've got the list of networks here. So just click the appropriate one, and you can then connect to that network. We'll just cancel that. Upgrade and install VMware tools. So that's pretty much already done for you. So you can see whether the tools are actually installed by clicking here. And again, if you then click configure, and you click edit, you look at the VMware VM options. You can see under here VMware tools. So you can see the different power options, but here with the VMware tool scripts, you can see that they run at various times. So again, they'll run just to make sure that they're updated. If you want them to be upgraded, you can check that box to check and upgrade the tools before each power on. So again, that's fairly simple to do. Just click OK there to save that. If you want to create some folders on the site or the cluster, then if you just click on the data center and then just left click on data center, you can then add a folder. So you just need to know the type of folder that you want to actually create. So let's say new VMware and template folder. So I'm going to call this my templates. Just OK that. This can just take a little while to update. There you go, you can see it there, my templates. And speaking of templates, if you actually want to create a new template, that's pretty simple as well. So what I'm going to do is, as I said, I've already got this rules web server machine, which is effectively a web server. It's got 2 CPUs, got a 4 gig of memory, a couple of hard disks. If I want to template that, I just need to right click on it. I then just need to click clone to a template. I can then just give it a new template, so I can go, let's call it rules web server template. And say where I want it to store. So I'm going to store it into my templates. Click next. I'm going to include my cluster for the compute resource. Select the storage. So I'm just creating data store 1. Click next again, and just double check the configuration. Click finish, and off it goes to actually make a clone into a template. So this will just take a couple of minutes. So there we go. There's my template. If I click on that, I can then create a new VM from this template. So I just need to give it a name. So let's call it rules web server 2. Decide where I want to locate it. So I want to locate it in my data center. I'm going to put it on my cluster. So I'm going to just pop it into data store 1. Let's click next. So I'm not going to do any of this customizing. I'm just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to power it on after it's been created though. And then I'm ready to complete. So I just click finish. My virtual machine is then run up for me. So you can already see it here in my view. So I'm just going to click on there. So at the moment it's not ready. So there we go. And it's now completed, and it's just switching on. So it's just powering on. Now, what you'll find is that because it's cloned from a template, you'll actually find that the server itself it retains the host name and the IP addressing, etc. of the original. So one thing that you do need to do just after you've created it is to actually go and change the host name and change the IP address. And again, that's all pretty much dependent on the actual operating system that you're running. Okay, well that's pretty much it. Again, it's a very sort of quick run through of some basics. So, showing you how to log on to the VM from vCenter. Show you how to provision a new virtual machine, how to stop and start it, how to take a snapshot, how to restore snapshots and delete them, and consolidate snapshots. I've showed you how to increase storage, so create a new disk. I've shown you how to increase the allocated CPU and RAM. I've shown you how to attach ISO files and DVD drives. I've showed you how to change the network adapter so that it's plugged into a different LAN. I've shown you how to install and upgrade the VMware tools automatically, how to create folders on the site or the cluster, how to create and upload templates, and also how to actually provision a new virtual machine from a template as well. So I hope you found that useful. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know if you have any questions.